Welcome to another edition of The Walking Dead.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of EPL on Pub.
Class is in session, hitting the books on Pub Sports.
This is another exciting edition of the main event on Talking Man.
Football fans and Premier League fans, welcome into this week's episode here of the EPL Pub on Pub Sports Radio. He's Matt. I'm Jason. Of course, we're going to talk about 7 weeks of the Premier League this weekend. What's going on, Matt? It's been a while.
Well, I just watched Man City look absolutely terrible in the first half. It was against Dortmund, that is, in the Champions League. And yeah, I mean, NFL's back. We had the suspension of last week for EPL on Pub. We recorded it, and then it
never happened.
And it never happened. So here we are again, ready to break down 7 matches this week. It looks like.
Yeah, the passing there of the Queen Elizabeth there is forced 3 games to go ahead and be postponed, but we are going to go ahead and get 7 of them, as you said. We're going to go ahead and break down all 7 of those games, but we want to hear from you guys in that comment section. We want to know what some of your leans are, what some of your best bets are. Hit that like button if you like those facts that we're firing out. If you like that content, hit that like button as you listen to us here on Pub Sports Radio. Let's jump into it with some Friday afternoon football. Matt, both of these matches, I'm going to be interested if they get any of your money. I will enjoy breaking them down and talking to them, but I can't imagine betting one of them. Southampton and Aston Villa first. Southampton, they're 2-1-3 on the season. We know Villa, they've only got the 1 win, or they've only got the draw, and the 4 losses with the win. Both of them have conceded 10 goals on the season. It's pretty even to me in this matchup. They're both averaging 2.8 and 2.5 goals on the season. Do you see any separation here or anything worth betting?
I mean, this is a tough one. I'd say that the break at least came at a good time here for Villa. It's almost like this whole the Queen passing thing. It's like the first break of the year, like where you generally have your players go off and play some international football. That's kind of what it feels like here a little bit. I think that the break came at a good time for Villa, and I mean. They've been playing so poorly recently, and they've had some issues. I think that when you assess their season thus far, they've had some tough matchups. They've played in, they played well. Let's not forget though, one of the last times they came out and played, they drew against Man City,
right,
which is pretty impressive, really. And so there's this matchup, and it is a tough one to break down. Will you let's talk about the lines here on it, I think, because that's really where you try to find the value. You got Villa here at basically just over even money at plus 105 on the money line here at home, and Southampton plus 265, the draw plus 255. So the books do rate Villa as being slightly stronger than Southampton, and I would agree with it. And the last time that they played, they did win 4-0. Jason. So I mean, they kind of went through Southampton. The season series did split though last year. Southampton picked up a 1-0 win as well. I'm just trying to look at some injury info, things of that nature. There's not a ton to talk about though.
I mean, this one with it being at Villa, that makes me think that, that certainly gives them the upper hand. You mentioned it, the 1-1 draw against City. Although City looks pretty poor. Well, they did step out in the Champions League the last time we did see them. Wasn't against that. That was a Premier League game, but they did look good against Sevilla. But you mentioned that Premier League performance just because it's at home, but the home and away form, when you look it up on the table, that really doesn't give you much separation. Can't wait for the Premier League to be back, but I don't know if this is one where you rush into. I'll take a stab, though, at probably both teams to score, maybe as a parlay piece and something.
Yeah, I mean, I would be only looking towards the home side here, I think. I think that when you stack up the 11s and you see the lineups come out, I think that you'll analyze them and you'll say, look, I think that Villa have the slight edge in terms of lineups here, in terms of overall quality. Coutinho looks like he's back and fit. So like, those are the kind of the game-changing players that I think that Villa has that Southampton does not. And then being at home here, I think that it could push them over the edge here. So yeah, I would be home side or nothing here.
And I like that push them over because Danny in the comments, he thinks there can be a first half draw. So maybe you get that draw in the first half and then Villa gets it over the line there in the second half. Cool. Like it. All right, the other Friday game that we get to see there is Nottingham taking on Fulham. They're welcoming there. Fulham, they've scored in 2 of their 3 away fixtures. Not too bad. A draw and a couple of losses. Nottingham goal differential at home is 3-5. They've been able to pick up a win at home. Another one, don't know if I'm betting. I can't wait to bet the Saturday matchups. These Friday ones, you would think, familiarity, obviously, from the championship. So that's going to help. I'll lean to both teams to score. That's why if you want to take these Friday matchups and I think do a both teams to score parlay, from the two matchups, maybe that could be your play and you enjoy your Friday football. I don't know. What are you seeing here between Nottingham and Fulham?
Tough matchup. Both of them, I think, do come down to lineup checks. And I mean, generally when I'm placing a wager in football, like I'm waiting until I see the lineups anyways, for the most part. And like this one is perfectly, relayed here. I mean, another team, really that, probably benefited a little bit from the break here in the home side of Forest. 3 consecutive losses, they've been struggling. We know how many new pieces they brought into the league, Jason. Fulham, they've suffered 3 straight defeats away from home. Okay. So they haven't traveled well yet. They haven't proven that they can really go on the road and win a game in this league. You look at, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say these two teams both average, while their games average 3 goals per game. The cash rate is so dramatically different because Fulham is 5-1 on the hit rate of the over, where Nottingham is only 2-4, even though they both average 3 goals per game. Exactly. I don't know. It's an interesting one there because if you're thinking over, but then, doesn't really line up for you.
Yeah, you look at it. Yeah, Nottingham conceding 1.67 goals at home this season. Fulham conceding 1.57 goals in all of their matchups. So, I mean, yeah, they both have been slightly leaky. I would be more interested in goals probably in this one than the first matchup between Villa and Southampton personally. But again, it's like one of those, like, I think that when the lineups stack up against themselves here, and what are we having here on a line as well? We've got plus 180 on a Nottingham Forest money line. So, I mean, they're dogs here. And I would say when the lineups come out, I think that Forest might have a slight edge in the lineups in terms of overall quality.
Okay, and maybe you do got to look to the head-to-head because the last 3 have seen a win to nil. A couple of those by Nottingham, one of them by a couple by Fulham, one by Nottingham. But either way, one win to nil. So you haven't been seeing both teams to score. So interesting. All right, the Saturday matchups. Here you go, Matt. I'm starting to look forward to it. We get a big one right off the start. It's Wolves taking on Manchester City. We know how these generally get played at the Molyneux, with Wolves being able to keep it close. Now you want to go ahead and add in City's form. You're telling me they're struggling against Dortmund right now. I'm watching the CBS, Golazo and getting whipped around here and watching all the games. But if you're saying they look bad, then I already kind of like the under. I don't like anything about the Wolves scoring in this fixture. Can't imagine them finding the back of the net. What are you thinking here? Low scoring? Maybe City scrapes it out 1-0, 2-0?
I mean, these two teams played at the back end of last year, and I watched the entirety of it because Liverpool had a chance to win the league, and it came down to like the last 3 matches. Wolves was on the calendar, Wolves away, and here we are again. We've got Wolves away, and Wolves were able to score. They were able to score, I think, a couple times in that matchup, but City were just far too clinical on that day. But, watching Man City, I watched the entirety of the first half, and I wish that I could get those 45 minutes back, Jason, against Dortmund here, because it's been like they just haven't been interested really at all. So they just haven't looked good. Dortmund have had just as good of chances, I would say. So, it's like one of those random City like first halves that you just don't, you can't predict like how poorly they just played. But I look at that and I think, look who's a good first half team.
Well, I was just going to say we're talking about the Wolves. We're on Pulse Sports Radio. You got to hit us with the Wolves first half. Are we going 0-0 on the correcto or just a first half draw? I don't think Wolves is scoring, so I'd be nervous doing first half draw. I'd probably just go 0-0 if I'm going to do it.
This is what I would go with. I would be looking into trying to. I mean, it's tough. Obviously, you've got to hold your nose and kind of pray a little bit when you're betting against Manchester City, just in general. But just watching how they played today. In that first half and how slow it was and how good Wolves have been generally in first halves. I mean, you could hold your nose here and say you can get Wolves on the double chance in the first half at even money. kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean that's what we like. Yeah, well, I like it. I might go for the 0-0. What's the 0-0 correct score if you got it? I may just go for that. I just can't see Wolves scraping out a goal against Man City. They're not going to have enough of the ball. They're not going to be clinical enough.
Plus 285.
You're going to get – oh, shoot. We got to mention before we – what is it?
Plus 285 on a 0-0 in the first half.
I may get a sprinkle on that. We got to also mention – it slipped my mind. We didn't even mention – I didn't hear you say it. Diego Costa is back in the league, right? Signed by the Wolves. So he's going to feature. So we got to mention Diego Costa. He's back. Everybody hates that guy, but, then he does have quality and he is a nice player, but you generally always hate him.
He's great for the league, though. Like I remember him and Henderson going toe to toe, like nose to nose. I hated Diego Costa, but
of course.
But at the same time, he's great for the league. He's just that he's that bad guy that everybody you got to have. And so I hope that he comes in with that same type of attitude because it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch those kind of maniacs play this game. And I mean, in this league, you kind of got to have a little bit of that. Everybody does. So, that's interesting. The 0-0 at plus 285 is kind of interesting.
Yeah. You can't let down our audience here. You're betting Costa on his debut, right? You're the debut better for anytime goal scorer.
This isn't a true debut, Jason. This is not. This is like he's how many debuts?
It's a debut. It's a debut.
No. Not against Man City. This is like his fourth debut in his last 4 years, probably. I'm good on it with him.
All right, good. All right, let's move it over now. We've got Newcastle taking on Bournemouth. I've been excited to talk about this game with everybody here because it's the Eddie Howe revenge game. I never believed he should have been sacked multiple seasons ago when they were in the Premier League. I've got this one circled. I love Newcastle in this spot. We talk about players in the NFL. We want to back players in the revenge game. Why can't the manager get some? And the boys want to get up for the skipper and the manager and get one up and Gavin Knight. This is just a nice spot for Newcastle at home against Bournemouth. It feels like a nice spot. I'm on the Newcastle train. You pick out teams. Last week it was West Ham. Obviously all the games got canceled, but you're always on a team every week. This is my week and I'm on Newcastle.
I like it. I love the way that you just kind of broke that down. You're right. I mean, dude, he was unrightfully sacked.
Yeah.
And so that Eddie Howe has this match circled. Mm-hmm. And he's got the better side.
At home at St. James Park.
And they've been very good at home. Very good at home. I'm going to get back into the trends here. I'm kind of looking at the line here. I'm also pulling up injury news as we go along here. It looks like see. Wilson, I had a little setback, disappointing because I started the season well. I felt like I'd found my form and rhythm. It's only a couple weeks. Looks like he's out. Bruno and St. Maximum are close. That was September 2nd. A quote from the manager. Bruno and St. Maximum are close. They weren't serious injuries, but we'll wait and see whether they're available for the weekend. That was on the 2nd. Okay. So they're pricing, Newcastle up here like they're ready to go at minus 225.
I'm ready.
So what was your bet for this one, Jason?
Just probably Newcastle -1. I'm with Danny. You get the free roll essentially. Newcastle on the -1.
Newcastle -1.
Yeah.
I like that. And here we got a comment. Dortmund scores.
I was just about to chime in. Not that we're talking about the game, but Chelsea apparently also got one, so they're up 1-0.
Okay. Yeah,
Chelsea's got a goal.
Who was it here? Sterling.
Pub Sports Radio coming in with the live updates. Love it here. You guys are checking out EPL on Pub. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button. Did you guys subscribe yet? Turn on those notifications so you can get all the great content here on Pub Sports Radio. We're breaking down match week number 8, although we really only played 6 weeks. Obviously, we're coming off the postponement there. Let's keep it going there. What about Tottenham and Leicester? I'm looking forward to this one because I like goals. You get goals in this one from a Leicester standpoint. You want to look at head-to-heads. You're going to go ahead and get goals. Everything about this I like, and I do like Spurs coming out on top, even though Champions League midweek, it happened. That was a crazy ending right there. You thought it was going to be 0-0, and they were going to get a point, and all of a sudden, it just didn't happen for them. But I still like Tottenham here at White Hart Lane. But Leicester offers enough quality where I'm going to continue backing both teams to score and Tottenham to win.
That's where I'm going here. This is the bet right here. It's both teams to score and Spurs to win. It's cash in the last 3 head-to-heads. 4-2, 3-2, 3-1, Tottenham need a bounce back performance. Sporting's a good side. I watched them in match day 1. That's really no shame losing to Sporting on the road. It was never going to be easy. I'm just worried a little. The only concern is, like, why is Son not firing at all?
Yeah.
He just doesn't look great. And so, yeah, I'm like waiting to find a way to get on him in some capacity. It could be this week. I mean, really, against Leicester, this is probably the time. I mean, a defense that's just been brutal all season. And he needs it. I mean, Son, it's just shocking that he hasn't scored at all this year. And
I know.
I mean, you can find him too at nice prices. Like, he is pulling it up right now. He is plus 145 to score on the money line. Like, I like that.
Remember this fixture last year where Tottenham got 2 at the death? This snatch it up. They got one right off the kickoff, ran it back down for another goal, Bergeron and everything. It was incredible.
Weren't you and I on opposite sides of that game?
Maybe. I'm sure I was on both teams scoring over 2.5. And maybe I lost a bet, but I certainly won a bet too.
There was one that we were on opposite sides for, and it was just like the wackiest ending.
Mm-hmm. We see this the same though. We see Spurs winning.
I think that the price is beautiful. I mean, when you look at it, it's going to be over 2-1 here on both teams to score.
2-1, love it. And with the Spurs win,
plus 185. I like it a lot. So, yeah, that's where I'd be going here. I think that Spurs do take care of business on a nice bounce back.
Okay, speaking about bounce back, we got to see how Arsenal is going to bounce back in the league. We saw what they did on Thursday night in Europa League, but here they got to come back in the league off a 3-1 defeat by United. It just didn't go their way. But if they come back here, we're able to bounce back on the road at Brentford, then okay, no issues there. Goal differential, though, maybe we can get goals in this one. Arsenal sits 14-7, while Brentford sits 15-9. They've both cashed the over combined over 2.5, 9-3. So we got to get goals probably here, Matt. We like Brentford always at home, all the attack that they have going forward through Tony. But we like Arsenal maybe to come out on top, so we can just do that same bet for Tottenham and Leicester, but just do it for Arsenal.
This is a place. This was match day 1 of last season. Arsenal. So I actually want to throw that one completely out of the window because
remember I was on it.
You were on Brentford in match day 1. Yes, you remember that.
Yes,
and that was such a bad Arsenal lineup. Like, that team is. I'm going to throw that one completely out of the window here. This isn't an easy place to go play by any means, but they were a completely different team then. But yeah, Tony's been on fire. A nice 5-2 against Leeds was great. We were both on the over there. So why not continue to ride the Brentford overs? I'm just going to go to that. I think that they just keep scoring goals. Arsenal will oblige, and this one should finish out like this is like it's probably a 2-1 to Arsenal. But yeah, I think that this is just a classic. Both teams to score over 2.5. I think that Brentford could shock people too. Yeah,
cool. All right. There's one more fixture we got to talk about here. It's Everton taking on West Ham. For this one, Matt, I'm going to look at Frank Lampard, top six at Goodison Park. Doesn't give it all too much of a go. You would think maybe the opponent of West Ham, but I think with the quality, maybe he'd be in trouble. So because of that, I'm seeing maybe a low-scoring game. They could probably hit him on the counter through Gordon. I don't know, but I do think maybe both score. I've got this one 1-1. I'm going to go for the exacto here with the bet. Do a little sprinkle on the 1-1.
The 1-1 in this matchup. This is a good one.
Frank Lampard needs points, and so does David Moyes. This is like a big match.
This is a huge lineup check again. I think that when the lineups come out, you're going to see a nice edge on. And here's Pickford's out.
What happened to Pickford?
Might be back, but I don't think that Lewin. They're just going to I don't think they're going to start.
No,
I doubt he starts. So I can almost tell you right now, these lineups are going to come out, and West Ham's going to have the edge, and West Ham is at plus 150 right now. I think it'll shrink a little bit. It'll go to plus 140. I'd be looking towards West Ham draw no bet. I'd be surprised if West Ham get beat here, but this is not an easy ground to go to. And Everton have beaten and avoided defeat against teams that are in this same type of tier as West Ham. the Brentfords,
I know.
the Leeds, but I still rate West Ham stronger than both Leeds and Brentford. So I do. I think that when the lineups come out, you'll see West Ham have just more offensive quality, and they should be able to score. West Ham, okay, here's the thing. West Ham should score in this matchup. Everton score?
Yeah. I think they've shown enough. I think they've shown enough intact. I think they get to West Ham because they're not firing on any or close to all cylinders. This is a normal West Ham team coming in. Last season's top 6, top 8 team. Okay, but they're nowhere near that. Just going off current form. That's what you always have taken. I mean, I know obviously people do take it into account. I'm going to go off current form and go. They can both score, but no winner. I like the 1-1.
Okay. Yeah, I like West Ham draw no bet, and I hope you're exact coming.
What was that? Was you got a good price on that? It's not a parlay piece. You got a good enough price on it?
No, that's a good enough price. It is. Yeah, it's minus 130.
Minus 130. Okay, good. All right, good. All right. Well, those are all 7. Obviously, a little shorter episode here of the EPL on Pub Sports Radio. 7 matches. But we'll be back next week, 4 p.m. Do it again here on Pub Sports Radio. Guys, don't forget to turn on those notifications so you get all the great content here on Pub Sports Radio. Good luck with your bets, Matt. Good luck with your bets. Good luck, everybody out there. We'll see you back here for match week number 9.